Belk, you got a gold.
Oh!
He got a gold, dude. 1 million subs.
What if we just had the sickest email, just with an awesome little short story, but it looks beautiful. I go get my mat, lay it down on the floor, and then I look up, and guess who I see?
Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Wolverine, dude. Hugh Jackman. Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about anything.
Didn't figure it out. Didn't figure it out. That's what we
probably
didn't do.
won't. We won't for a while now, actually. This is more of a bedroom now than a podcast studio. And last time I was in that room. And you don't even go in front of the sign. That's sick,
so
dude.
for the listeners, okay, couple brass taxes here. Dylan works in an office. He calls it a studio, but it's an office. There are other people there that do sales calls all day. Sometimes they have friends come and sleep on the podcast studio couch. That's what he's referring to.
One of my coworkers is living here.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to unpack.
Don't tell the landlord though, dude. Don't tell the landlord.
We've got the Smart Nonsense sign in the background. I think I've got some fake blur going
Well,
on.
it's out of focus because it's 50 feet away.
It's out of focus. It's 50 feet away because I got rid of my laptop and didn't realize I need a laptop to shoot over there. So that's this podcast, dude. Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast.
But, dude, how about we start it off? Let's just date this podcast once and for all, because you know it's going to come out in 2024. Belk, you got a gold. He got a gold, dude.
Oh!
1 million subs.
1 million subs. I was going to say June 13th. 2023. I actually hit 1 million on June 6th, though. So,
dude,
it's been a
week. Let me cut you off, dude, because I know that's really awesome. But I just want to comment on me clapping and how obnoxious that is as an audio podcast.
And for your office mates,
right? Well, they're not here. They're not here.
Okay.
One of them's doing another pod somewhere else in the city, and the other one's eating salmon. Dude, I got a lot of gossip we can't talk about. That's nonsense.
Thought poison.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I got silver, you get gold. I'm coming for gold. I'm coming. Supposedly you got to post to get more subscribers, and you're out of focus. And
you do have to post to get more subscribers. I don't think you've posted. We have this joke, right, where there was 1 month. Come on, give me focus. There's 1 month, maybe like October, you didn't post, or March or something. And we have this funny banter, which is just 0 in March. Turns out you also did 0 posts in May. Or no, sorry. There were two. And you're on track to do about 1 in June. I aim for 1 a day. I
blink and it's already the 13th, dude. Who would have known? That's awesome, though. I'm glad you do 1 a day. But here's
haircut, dude. No. People should subscribe. That's a sick haircut you got. Coming from our last podcast, dude, where you probably had Kim Jong-un. That's really good to see.
What's tough too, though, is like when I keep it longer, dude, on top. Thanks, dude.
Sleeves.
Thanks.
Sleeves.
Yeah, did I not? Oh, I caught you off guard with the sleeveless yesterday. I'm gonna do more of those. I don't like sweating. I sweat too much. Dude, stinky boy.
What's that? Wait. No. Come on, let me take a tangent. Are you gonna finish the thought, or should I?
I got a story too at some point that I meant to talk about last week on the pod. We didn't shoot it, but go.
I just wanted to toss out that podcast we love. I don't even watch the podcast, but those 4 guys. Was it Good Friday? Almost Friday?
Yeah, Almost Friday.
Almost Friday TV, maybe. They just act out little improv things on the podcast, and I think it's hilarious. And maybe we should do that. I'll give you a little situation.
We're searching for a format, so if you guys got something, or really anything, we're searching for anything. If you want to produce this podcast,
literally anything.
I got an office space. You can sleep here.
Dylan at smartnonsense.com.
Smartnonsense.com. Dude, I don't want to talk about business yet, though. But look at that URL. That URL is gonna come back. That's a teaser, dude. I was gonna talk about my hair being poofy, but that's not really a fun story.
Do it.
You want
to? Do it.
No, dude. Everyone makes fun of me because whenever I get sweaty and my hair's not wet, it just poofs out. So I'll have like this Hispanic fro. I don't know what it is. And what did Crucero call it?
That one was better left unsaid. The fro. Crusader? You're going to bring that up? We're talking about exes now.
I'm gonna get a text in about a month being like, "You talking about me?" No, dude. We're talking about business. So I got a lot of leases. We know I got a lot of leases.
Wait,
One
people
of
might
them,
not know. So walk us through all of your leases, because it is an extraordinary amount of leases that you have in your name.
right. Well, the main lease is my actual lease, which is my home where I live. It's an apartment. It's a very expensive apartment in a nice part of town in New York City. Come say hi. I want to make more friends, and you can come hang out in the studio. The other lease is the studio. It's that one is also. Hey,
Office.
I'll throw numbers around. You want numbers?
Office.
Home's $4,000. That's kind of expensive. It's a lot a month, especially
One
when you're
person.
sharing it with somebody else. One person,
Eight.
right? One person.
9 for 2.
That
9 for 2.
I might have to find someone to move in with me. But then you have this place, and this place, luckily, it's shared. Right? We got 3 people, sometimes 4, sometimes 5, often 6. That's $6,000 a month. But when you split it 3 ways, okay, $2,000. That's awesome. If I'm putting out shorts, maybe the shorts pay for it. If I'm not, I'm in the hole some more. But that's fine. That's fine.
Totally
A third
fine.
lease, unexpected lease, really.
Didn't know this could be a lease. Did not know it was possible.
You know, I came into this only wanting to just get a tour. And what happens when I'm on my heels, because I don't have, like, you know, in negotiation, the person that has more information is usually in a better position. I didn't have the information, so I show up and they got all the information. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna give you a tour of what I will now call a gym, at a nice gym. It's Chelsea Piers Gym, for those of you in New York." And I wanted to go check it out because a YouTuber that I like, that we both like, Kelly Wakasa and his whole friend group, they were doing vlogs working out there. So I'm like, "Oh, hey, let me get a tour." They're like, "Hey, how about you go with this chick that's your age and also attractive? She's going to give you a tour." I'm like, that's a really dangerous tour, but I'll go for it. By the end of it, I see the place and she's like, "Hey, 7-day free trial. You can come back." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, they got a hot tub. Maybe I'll come after my workouts or after my hockey and just hang out in the hot tub." I end up signing up, don't cancel, and now I got a year lease at this
At a gym.
$250 a month gym that
1 year
I hadn't
lease.
gone to. And I signed up in January, start of January, and I'd been 4 times in 4 months. So that's not a great ratio there. But the first time I went, what
That's
really hooked me,
$250 a visit.
yeah,
Essentially.
yeah, and yeah. If I just paid per visit, it'd be like, I don't know, fucking $30 or something. But that's fine. That's fine, dude. I'm investing. But what really hooked me during that trial week, because I'm like, I'm just gonna cancel. They're not gonna get me. I know these fucking traps. I'm not stupid. I go the first week, and the first person I meet there is Kelly Wakasa. I see him. in the
That's right.
the stalls.
That's right.
He's changing, and I'm
With
like,
Jen,
"Oh,
right?
dude, I see." Yeah. Well, I saw like 2 separate occasions. Kelly and his filmer Colt, who's also blowing up on YouTube. I kind of went on some dates with Colt's sister, so it was kind of awkward, kind of fun.
Didn't
And
ask.
Did not. Did anyone want to know? I'm single. Actually, I don't know what I am right now. But,
it also didn't ask. Also didn't ask.
Dude, you want everything? This is related to the story though. We're gonna get there. So yeah, I met like this whole friend group, and that was pretty much during the first week. But then I just like stopped going to the gym because like I didn't actually work out in the gym. I just went for the hot tub, and then it wasn't open late enough because I'd want to go to the hockey rink, which was right next door. But my games were at 11, and the fucking gym's closed, so it's basically useless. But now I'm trying to get back in shape because hockey season just ended. So I'm like, your boy's not going to be fat. We got Bod Pod, which is like this body percentage tool,
body fat percentage
device,
measuring device.
Yeah, and we do it for all our friends, and we fat shame whoever's the worst. So I don't want to be that fatty, that rumped, as we used to call me in my fat days, in my glory days, some would say. Not glory days, but
they were okay.
I now realize I got to go to the gym, right? And so first time I went to the gym, I had good luck. I saw Kelly. So I'm like, okay, I'm going back, but I know Kelly likes to go like late because I was kind of stalking him. I was stalking that whole group. I know they go late at night, but I want to get a good early start to the morning. I go at like 10 a.m. I'm kind of in my zone listening to a podcast. I go walk, I change, I go up to the like second level where they got all these like things. I don't know how to use machines. I feel like I'm gonna fuck up my body, so I just do my calisthenics, I do my little fucking burpees and just spread my arms. But I'm in my own world, listening to the podcast. I go get my mat, lay it down on the floor, and then I look up, and guess who I see?
I'll take the easy one, I guess. Kelly.
Wolverine, dude, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. I was like, wait, what's his name? Australian dude. Wolverine.
Yeah. He walks right by me to get a little foam roller. I'm like,
was he on a trial?
I actually went down and asked after, and like, we can't tell you about our guests, like what planning on. But I'm just,
he doesn't have a home gym.
Like,
what
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, Wolverine, nice.
I don't know why he was there, but it was like no one was in this gym, so I'm just playing on this like synthetic grass, and I'm like, does anyone looking at Wolverine? I mean, I don't know if he, dude. So he's just like, you can tell instantly because he's just like he's like a big dude. He's like older because he has like kind of a gray beard now. He also looks like a Tomas because he's like very pale white, but he's a ripped older dude. And he's just on this fucking pelvic thrust thing the whole time. He's just like, fuck you, dude. He had plates on him. And I think it's one of those things where like no one really wanted to stare, but there was just like one guy that was just hanging out by his machine, just like staring at Hugh the whole time. And he went up to him and he's like, did you want to use it or something? Like,
Huey Lewis, dude.
So it was just like, fuck, dude. Every time I try and leave, she ropes me back in. So now I'm going back to the gym some more. And we'll see if I hang out with you.
I'm happy for you. That's a small price to pay to be in the presence of Hugh.
Yeah, I did my
probably
exercise.
Doing a Broadway show.
Right. Because I forgot I guess he lives in New York because I saw his Instagram post for here. Yeah, it must be, or he has a house here. But,
I'm shocked he's going to a public gym though.
Yeah, I mean it's like at a weird, like a fucking like a Monday at 10 a.m. So like it was just old people and like a couple unemployed people like me. So it wasn't a big deal, but yeah, it was just really weird. I was like, no one was in the gym, and I just look up and he's right next to me, and I'm like, that's really weird. But dude, I don't mean to.
I was not expecting.
I don't mean to name drop on the pod. I didn't have a real conversation with him. I just stared at him and jumped. But you had a real conversation with the movie star.
He is a movie star, isn't he? Any guesses?
Will Smith.
Second best. Will Smith's
Ghostwriter.
Right. Ghostwriter.
I forgot that was. Oh, look at that connection. Oh,
Mark
is that
Manson.
how he found you?
No. Andrew Kirby, YouTuber Andrew Kirby. Okay, so I just got off the phone with Mark Manson. Couple things. Kind of like your Huey Jackman run-in. Hey, I don't want to boast, but
no, dude, I said I went on dates with girls, dude.
Yeah,
we're open books at this point.
Here's the interesting thing: once you get your gold plaque million subscribers,
fuck, dude,
you get an email from Mark Manson wanting to connect, and it's like, I like Mark Manson.
Does Mark Manson have?
But I got shorts to write, so it was like, it's this interesting thing of like, oh, this super idol inspiration of ours. I've read all his stuff, whatever. Reaches out, and I'm like,
movie on the plane back from Asia. Like,
yeah, he's got some funny stories about that. It's just like super interesting where I feel like we're in a point now where it's just like content trumps everything. We had our kind of like go hang out with our inspiration phase like 2 years ago. But now content trumps everything, and people are finding us because of our content, which is like, very interesting.
Yeah, hey, let me jump in. I was thinking about this. Jump in. I was thinking about how like the agency is really cool, especially if you're the best in the world, because you immediately can talk to anybody because they're like, oh, I want help on my project. And that's how we get in the room with like a Will Smith, David Sachs, Chamath, like that whole group. It was relatively easy for us to infiltrate that because just no one was doing something and we were just the best in the world at it. It was like, boom, did that. But you're not on the same level as them. It's like, hey, you're helping me out. It's kind of like we're not charging them. It's just it's a weird thing, but we're like 22, so it's kind of like a college kid calls you on the phone and you're gonna give them advice, but you're not equals. Versus
Right.
now, it's like, okay, we go through our phase of focusing on content. A year later, like I remember Sachs. I remember when he talked to, I think it was Jacqueline and David dinner or something, and we are saying like how it's cool that you have 1,000 subscribers and like 1,000 people are showing up and like care about you. And Sachs was like, well, it's not. I don't think it's really 1,000. That's it's like maybe 100.
100.
And he was like shitting on us. And then literally a year later, because his birthday was a couple weeks ago, it's like, oh,
Look at us
how's a milli?
now, Sax. Look
Oh,
at
dude, the
us
lowest T. Look at
now.
us now.
I gave a lot of tea in the book.
Dude.
Okay,
Sorry to
so
jump
here's
in,
an
dude.
interesting thing. Let me draw a parallel. He's just super cool, super nice guy. He's in LA. He was just wanting advice because he wants to go from long form to short form. That's not super interesting. What is interesting is I was asking him about like his book, and he did a feature film and stuff. And then I was like, well, why YouTube? Like you've done this big hitter stuff. Why YouTube? And he was like, I got my career. I started as a blogger where like I owned my audience. And I thought like traditional media was the motherland, right? So he writes a book, he goes and does a movie, and he's like, but I came out of that movie like super jaded because he's like, traditional media, they just like don't know what they're doing. There's a bunch of red tape. They move really slow. They sap all the creativity out of the thing. And then by the time it's all done, he's like, I don't even want to promote this movie.
Oh, really?
So now he's going back to like, I saw the power in YouTube. I just want to own my audience again. And if I were going to do another movie, I would just launch it myself and promote it myself because the traditional media has no clue what they're doing. And I thought that was interesting and kind of similar to us and the David Sachs, right? It's like we kind of accelerated our way through the tech industry. We're hanging out with all these big important founders. We got to what we thought was the end game, and then we were like, wait, no, like we were kind of jaded from that. We're like, we don't want to do that for 30 years, and like that's not it. And we came back to this like I guess lifestyle business thing, own your own stuff, make your own stuff, bootstrap your stuff, own everything. He's like, yeah, I just want to own everything at this point. So that was cool.
There's so many, like there are very few actual success stories. Like most of the founders that I've talked to that raise big money now feel like slaves to whoever gave them funding, and they have to keep growing. And I remember even at one of our like Hampton, which is like the CEO group that we're kind of a part of, but not really, we don't participate much in. But like when we went to one of the dinners, this guy had raised like $100 million or $200 million, and it was for a business that he no longer enjoyed. It was kind of a shitty model, and they're like basically forcing him to go for the absolute moonshot. And he's like, dude, it shouldn't be a moonshot business, but like that's the only way investors get returns. So he just felt trapped, like he has to do this thing he doesn't want to do. And he's like, yeah, next time I'm just not going to raise any money. And that's pretty much what I feel like I hear all the time now. It's just like everyone's jealous of the bootstrapper that just figured out how to go 0 to 1 without raising money, and then just own everything.
Don't have to deal with anything. Own all your own stuff. He was even saying like, so the traditional media that I guess Universal launched his movie, they'll come to him now wanting like free advertisement. They're like, hey dude, like movie's doing super great. They don't tell him any numbers. When are you going to post that next Instagram story about it? And he's like, fuck, like if the marketing for this movie was just me emailing my list and posting Instagrams, I wouldn't have sold you the IP. He's like, I hardly own any of this thing anymore. So he got super jaded and came back around to just like, you just want to own everything, play by your own rules, launch what you want to launch.
Well, he's super impressive because he was the OG of like big blog to newsletter. And he was in the pickup artist space. That's his whole thing. So he was like the OG in the dark arts, which we all know some of us dabbled in. Most of us really in this world have dabbled in, except Belky because he just cashed out. But yeah. So I guess we all circled back, and it kind of, hey, if we want to connect dots, dude, I'll give you another dot to connect.
Connect them.
What the hell are we doing with our business? Because it's been pretty much steady state for a year. We haven't grown it. We haven't not grown it. It's just been a plateau. What we have done though is Belky is now out of out of the loop. He's like on the business, not in it, which is sick. I've been fucking out in outer space for a while, just floating. So like, I've been out. I'm not even on anything. I'm just
Zero
doing zero
G's.
G's. So
Bones,
guess where I am, dude.
osteoporosis, got it all.
So that's awesome. Belky's out. We're working with our boy Nico. Hey, does anyone care about our business? I don't know. We'll see. These don't even get published. But you don't think so. But I'm just gonna skip over it because this is the point that I think is cool.
Make it.
You're out of it. So now we're focusing on like things that are scalable. What can we actually work on? We just want to promote our own shit. Like that's all we want to do. We've mastered short form. So it's like the next logical step you would think for someone who masters short form, especially on YouTube, is go to long form. Like, hey, just make longer videos, which we kind of started dabbling with. But if you've seen our videos, you know they're highly animated. Easy 1492.
I didn't want to drop a 1492. It's too inside of a joke.
It's all right. Well, it's the most inside because it's only us two.
All the way inside. All
but
the way.
This is a podcast, and there are listeners supposedly. So we're gonna do long form, but then we realized, hey, if we're doing a 5 or 10 minute long video, and we just scale up that 1 minute worth of animation, which takes us a week, you're looking at 5 or 10 weeks of turnaround time if you animate the whole thing. It's like that's really fucking long for something we don't really know how to do. So it's like, what do we spend a month to get something out in the best case scenario? And we fucked up the hook and it flops, and now it takes another month and like 1 or 2 animators. So it's just like longs kind of suck, at least the way we're gonna do them. Granted, Belky's starting to get views, so I don't mean to talk for you, dude.
I've zipped my mouth shut.
Shut,
it is
dude.
zipped shut. Carry on.
Right shut. Well, Belky, we also found a little hack where you can put a call to action at the end that promotes something. And if it's promoting a longer form version of that little trailer short that you made, it's like, oh, here we're talking about diamonds. If you want more on diamonds, click this link. Boom. A lot of people go over, hundreds of thousands of people, which is cool. But that's still not going to make enough money to actually pay for our animators. So we're in a little bit of a trap. It's like, what do we do? Well, some people would just be like, fuck it, still go for the long form, try and get people to advertise, but then you have to work with advertisers. It's like, we don't want to grow ads. So
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Yeah, say it.
I got one free product, this Insta360 camera. It's a $500 camera. I got it for our video going to Vietnam. The rep, she's awesome. Let me preface this by saying she's awesome. She emails me like every other day. Where is the video? Where is the video?
Really?
Where is the video? Did you get the referral link for the video? Is the video coming? Not that much, but like my point is doing stuff for other people, other brands. It's like, it's always something. You always owe them something and they need to sign off on something. It's like such a pain.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's this Colin and Samir, which they were talking about like their brand deals, and who was it with? Who did they just have on? Tim Ferriss. And like Tim Ferriss has this crazy process for like working with brands for his podcast, and it's like super intensive. And then Colin and Samir talked about theirs, and they're like, oh, we just ask for like who has $100,000 minimum spend or whatever, to like weed out all the people that are annoying, which kind of works, but it's like it sucks having all these back and forth. So we're like,
and you don't.
Do we want to have an agent?
Tim's doing all this research to like make sure the product he's promoting is good, and their features are good, and their funnel is good, and their website is good. Like all this crap, and he doesn't even own the thing at the end of the day.
Right, which is weird. It's like, I think Joe Rogan owns part of is it like On It or something, or some like brain supplement, and he just promotes it in his stuff. But he's like, it's his own brand, so it just makes a lot of sense. It's surprising that Tim wouldn't do that. Granted, I know he likes like simplicity, but then he creates this complex system. It just seemed really weird. And we're like, fuck, dude, if we had a perfect world, it's just promoting our own products. So now we're like, okay, what do we want to do with these shorts? Maybe we'll dabble in longs, but we don't have enough money to like invest in animators for that yet. And there are probably some other formats, but we just don't want to crack them right now. So instead, we're doing the whole, what basically everyone always says, and Tim Ferriss says this, it's like the most valuable medium to have an audience, it's email. It's like everyone on Twitter, they're just like email, like own your audience, just get everyone over there. So like, I think we just make an email. And this is easy changing the lighting. This is what we
Easy.
realized in Asia was if you build a giant email, like unlike our long form, you can now have a writer come in and they can write the email and hit the list, and you own that audience, and you can like send it to anyone on demand whenever you want, and you don't need to animate for a week or a month. It's just this amazing thing. And so we're like, let's focus all our attention there. That's something where we can put ads in there if we wanted to, or just promote our own stuff like Eclipse, or maybe we sell merch or whatever that product might be. It's super easy to just promote our own things if we want, or someone else's if we went that route.
Did you say you're
But
also pulling people off the algorithmic platform into a
Right.
thing you completely own?
Right. You're not dependent on YouTube liking you.
Which was Doug DeMuro's number one advice. He was like,
Right.
get your audience off YouTube ASAP. That's what he tells
Right.
everyone.
And so I think here's the important part is like, I think a lot of people, one, it sucks because they're just like, hey, own your audience, get people on an email newsletter. And it's like some shitty like 5-bullet Friday sort of thing. That's what Tim Ferriss does. It's just like an afterthought email. But the way we approach everything is like, hey, if we're going to make something, let's make it ideally the best in the world, but even better than that, the only in the world.
10x
like
better.
10x better
than
than
anything
the
else.
only in the world. Like you can't go anywhere else for this type of content. So like instead of a 5-bullet Friday, what if we did something which we wish existed right now, but it doesn't? It's this sort of premium, this Wait But Why, which is a sick blog. Wait But Why, but just in daily email. Because right now, Tim Urban, the writer, he'll put out like a couple posts a year if we're lucky. And it'll be like super in depth on, who knows, like Tesla or like having a child, or I don't know, the state of humanity.
Anything really, religion,
Literally,
anything he's
all over
curious
the
about.
place. But it's super, like he just goes down a rabbit hole for months and months and months, and then occasionally emerges. But it's like, what if we just had the sickest email, a daily email, just with an awesome little short story, like our shorts, but it looks beautiful with these it's almost like a comic in a sense, where it's just like the best illustrations. You'd almost open the email just to look at the art. You're like, this is fucking awesome, and I can learn something at the same time in just a couple minutes.
Because Tim Urban also does all of his own illustrations.
Right.
And they're rudimentary, which makes it special because he's doing them himself, but they're not like on their own. They're not super captivating.
Right. He's just
they're stick figures. They're stick figures.
It works because no one else is doing it. Like if there were competition, like maybe he'd have to innovate, but literally no one can be funny and smart at the same time. So it's like, well, Tim's just gonna own this space. And so this is just a different angle, which works perfectly with our shorts because we can just repurpose our shorts, but in a cool way. It's like Belky's posting once a day, so we're missing shorts. It's like you just get this whole ecosystem of like, now you're never gonna miss our content. It's always there. You're gonna want to open this thing. Much easier said than done because we're trying to hire an illustrator right now or hire a writer.
And then
Yeah.
the plan to monetize is probably the Danny Duncan playbook, which is like create an army of people that are, in our case, smart, nonsensical. Right? They're like curious learners like we are, but also like want things to be simple and funny and entertaining. And you build kind of an army around that, launch merch that helps people identify with that army. And Danny Duncan's done what, like $150 million in 5 years, 3 years?
Right. Yeah, if we're just
Something
known
crazy.
as like you see something from Dylan or Henry, or in this case, Smart Nonsense, the umbrella, which is smartnonsense.com, that's where everything will point. Then you're just like, this is gonna be hilarious and beautiful, or more, 3 things, I guess: hilarious, beautiful, and actually smart, ideally, in some sense.
List of 3, dude. List
I
of
made
3.
it to
He did
3,
it.
dude.
He did it.
I was starting at 2 just to keep it lowballed, and I figured we had 3.
Nice. First time ever on the pod.
But I think that's I don't know. I feel like people just half-ass things because they want to do a bunch of different things at once, and it's like, no, let's just focus. We could do longs at the same time as this newsletter, which still you're kind of doing, but like I just cashed out. It's like just focus entirely on that
Focus.
one thing, just perfect it. One problem we've run into a bunch is like we'll try and hire too early for something, or it's before we've created it ourselves. Whereas like we're the 0 to 1 guys. That's what we're really good at. Pretty much beyond 1. Or I'm kind of good at like the 0 to like 0.1. You're good from like the 0.1 to the 1. And then 1 and beyond, we're just like, hey, we don't really want to keep doing this. So that's what we had to do. We tried to hire a writer to like start it from day one. We actually tried to go this other guy, Sean Puri, and have him write it, but then we wouldn't own everything, and then we'd probably run into the same Mark Manson trap of not owning your literally the thing most important.
He didn't respond either.
Yeah, that's fine though, dude. He's on his own.
Onward and upward.
So basically, hey, the news for people that care is we're making an email. If you probably already read it by the time this comes out. You're probably looking at it. It's
if this comes out.
Are there lessons from it? I just think like
dude.
Another lesson. Hey, dude, are there lessons? I'm spitting lessons. You're saying no. One lesson that I battle with every day, because I want it to be kind of like Apple when they launch a product. They know it's absolutely sick. Like when you buy a V1 of whatever it is, an iPhone, an iPod, whatever the new VR thing, you know it's gonna be dope. Versus like minimum viable product, just get it out and iterate. So I'm like the Apple side, you're like the I don't know who gets it out and iterate, but like fucking
list to 0.
List to 0.
Is that a list to 0?
I thought you were gonna help out, but
no.
But like this tension, it's just like the perfection through iteration is really cool to see because I melted down the other day because I couldn't stand the email and I'm like, this fucking sucks. But you're just like, dude, have you seen our first shorts?
Well, right, getting to perfection pre-launch, I think is really overwhelming. And then you get none of the momentum of launching and moving and the excitement of it. Yeah, like our first shorts 200 shorts ago, we thought they were sick. I can't watch them now. Just cannot. So, but I think it's good
but
to
they're
have
still better than anything anyone else is putting out there, which is the funny thing.
Right.
And no one will ever compete because you need crazy resources to do that.
Hey, dude, my camera just cut out. Oh, there I am. I was going to say, it's probably about time we wrap it up, Pop.
Yeah, dude. We could have wrapped it up at 16 minutes, but we hung in there. The only thing I'll say is, okay, Gardaloo.